This pump is running now. This is called a AP-100. They do come smaller for little ponds. I usually have two of these running here. Here's the other hose that one of the other pumps. Now all three of these pumps that I have here, only two of them are set up right at the moment. All three of them went bad, and I'll show in a video rebuilding these pumps. And that's what kind of pump it is. It's running now. You can hear it running, and that's what the air bubbles are out there. Here's a soaker hose that was bought last year, was supposed to get put on and didn't get done yet. Just a 50-foot hose. Cut it off and I clamp it on with a little fitting. We'll do another video on installing those. Right now, the video is going to be fixing the pumps, because they do go bad after 4 years maybe, I don't know. And then got to put a new kit inside of them. Otherwise you pay a couple $100 for a new pump. I'm going to do this on my computer desk. I just don't have a good handy spot elsewhere to do it. Underneath the top here is just a filter that you can clean. It's really no big deal. Take this out and clean it, wash it with some soap and water, dry it, and put it back. But we don't have to have that for what I'm doing here on this video. This is the specs of this thing. I guess I can get a close-up of that. Okay, AP-100. That's the biggest one that they sell of this model at this point. And I don't know how well you can see this on the video. I'll just read it to you. Of course, it's standard electric we use here in the States is 120 volts. And the output pressure, it claims to have about 9,150 cubic inches a minute. The pressure itself is about 6.5 pounds per square inch. So, and it says it's good. Maximum water depth 11.5 feet. That is pretty good specs, and it works out real good with those soaker hoses that I showed earlier. Now to open this thing up, you just take the top off, these 4 screws right here, and we'll get those off. Alright, this was stuck a little bit tight. I got the 4 screws off. I just put a screwdriver under here, pried it right there, and it came loose. And if you're careful not to hurt that's just the cover there. If you're careful not to hurt the gasket, you can reuse it. But this gasket does look like it's in kind of rough shape, so I don't know if it gave me a new gasket like this. I don't think it did. So I'm going to have to be careful with this one and reuse it. Here's my new kits. I bought 3 of them, and it does come with a gasket that goes underneath the bottom here. But this will be my 3rd pump. I did one about 5 years ago. Bought an extra pump, a couple extra pumps, and extra kit, and I used the extra kit that I had last week on the pump that I showed over there at the pond right now. Here's the gasket that goes underneath this plate. I don't know if I need it or not. I'm not going to take that plate off, so I'm pretty sure that gasket will be okay if I don't mess with it. But I don't have one like this. Now on Amazon they do sell a variety of these kits. This is the pump that it fits, the AP-100, but you got to look at different kits they have on Amazon. I'll put a link up there if I don't forget. And some of the kits have this gasket and some don't. But the important thing is these diaphragms. These are what go bad, and the reason I'm doing the video, because it's not all that self-explanatory. It's a little bit tricky. It does come with instructions how to do this, but in any case, I'm just going to take this thing off right here and unhook this, and we got it. And I'm just going to do one side of this on the video. We got to take this thing off and put these two rubber one-way valves in there. I like to call them elastomer valves because that's what they told me to call them when I went to school for auto mechanics. But that was a long time ago, and these were in Ford carburetors on the accelerator pump. They had a valve like this in there. And take these 4 screws out right here. There's 2 on top, 2 on the bottom, and then we'll pull this plate off. There's a powerful magnet inside this housing, and there is a coil of wire in there, and that coil of wire is, when you put the AC power to that, that coil of wire vibrates inside that magnet, and so that vibrating, it runs this way and that way, because you have this over here and you have the identical setup on the other end, and so that's what makes these diaphragms flex in and out. And then it uses these as one-way valves, one to suck air in one side and then it blows it out the other, and they plug into this piece here. We'll change those as well. So let me pull this piece off. Got those screws out. Now, what's it going to take to open this up? There we go. Carefully take that off, and as you can see, inside here is where those little valves, those one-way umbrella valves, that's where those go. And we'll open this up and change those in a minute. But I'm going to pull this off of here. When I do, this magnet is going to swing over to one side. Well, in order to pull this off, we gotta, this one has glue on it. I don't remember the other one having glue, one I did last week. I didn't do a video last week when I did this for 2 reasons. One, it had been several years since I did one. I wasn't sure I'd remember how to do it. But right back, I gotta get a little pliers for this. As you can see, the diaphragm is broken here, and we're probably going to have that on both sides. I'm going to go on ahead and take this screw out right here. I said screw, I meant nut and washer. And then we've got this aluminum plate right here. The round side goes towards the inside of the machine, and then there's this plastic washer here. Well, the new kit comes with all of that stuff new. It comes with these metal ones, and it comes with plastic ones that might go to a different model. Well, mine has plastic or metal ones, and there's nothing wrong with them. I'll probably stick them back in there and just save all this stuff. But these little nylon spacer or washers, or whatever you want to call these, I'll use those. Now when I get this off of here, it's centered right now, but it won't be when I get it off, because that magnet's going to pull that coil over into the magnet. So I got to find out where am I going to put this screwdriver to get that off of there. Maybe I'll just tap it. it's kind of corroded on there a little bit. Whatever it takes to get that off carefully. These are out in the weather all year at my pond, so that's why it is sticking like it is. There we go. Came off. It only goes on one way. It's self-explanatory because it's got a hole right here that goes in that hole there. You know what? I could leave this. This one has the plastic one on the inside. My other one had metal on the inside. But see this magnet? It just sticks from one side to the other. But when you energize that coil of wire in there, it causes an alternating magnetic field. And it causes the permanent magnet to vibrate. So it pumps back and forth. Now here's the tricky part. Is getting these in, because they were a very tight fit when I did this. These were a very tight fit. There's a plastic ring right in here. Pull this out. And then this will come out of there. On this side here. Okay, that comes off like so. And if you look on the downside of this, trying to get in the camera here, where am I? Okay, the bottom, the side that goes towards the inside has these two little ears on each side of this. See that? This one here, that one there, both of those recess into this part of the one that's inside. They fit that. See that little hole there and the one there? So that's why this cannot go on this way, because that's the smooth side that goes out. The side that's got this, that fits against that. So that that goes on there, on that side. So this side goes in here like that. So we're going to put this on here with these little ears that go in that hole there. And I'm going to work this thing in there, and I'm going to have to stretch it and pull on it a little bit to get that to go in there all the way around, to work that with my thumbs so that that goes all the way, it seats in there. I think the one I did last week, I think since the kit had been sitting here for several years, I think it shrunk. And these were very difficult to stretch. get them down in that groove all the way around. And you have to get this in that groove first before this ring will go back in on the outside here. So we just have to stretch this ring, or push the ring in there all the way around. Just keep going until we get that in there. There, that's in there now. Okay, now that will go on here. This gets one of these white washers on there. We can put this back on there now. This is the side that goes in because it recesses into this hole here. The side that sticks out a little bit where that is. Sorry about getting in the way of the camera. Okay, I think I've got that on there tight enough that that'll stay. And now I gotta fight against the magnet in there and move this thing over to where this piece will go in there and seat in that recessed area there, like it just did. And push this thing on tight. Okay, now I can change these. I did take these 4 screws out of it right there and stick a screwdriver in here someplace and carefully pop this loose. Careful not to damage that gasket because I don't think it came with this gasket either. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and wash this thing out. Now I'm going to pull these things off. I'm going to come around here to the other side and get the other one out. Get a hold of it. In there a little tight, it seems like. There. Pull that out. Now the new ones go in same way, but I might take a little spit and put it in that center hole. And then the same thing, kind of put that little tit right there in your mouth and spit on that a little bit, pull that through that hole. And then you can just pull it right through. Okay, get a hold of that little tit, pull it all the way through. Now one side of the hole is kind of rounded in the center in case you forget which way you put it. They came. The hole that's a little bit chamfered in the center so that it's easier to pull this through. That's the direction it goes. Push that through there, and then the side that's flat is the side you pull it through to. You pull that little, just pull that little tit right through there until it comes out like that. And then just take a little wire cutter and reach in there and just cut the stem off of that on both sides. Make sure you pulled it in all the way because you won't be able to pull it in without that stem. And then and now we can put this piece back together. Actually, I think the gasket would probably like to go over here first and put it on the same way it was, or try to. I hope that's the way it was. I don't think it really matters. Go on either direction. What I mean is this way or this way. Actually, when I look at this, I think this is the side, so I can't tell which way it was. I don't think it matters. I'm just going to put it on there. Put this on there. Put my screws back in it, and then I'm going to put it on there. Got my screws back in there tight. Now I am ready to put this plate back on. I just saved the new ones, I don't know why. But the round side goes towards the middle. And I gotta just hold that plastic ring in place while I do this. And then get my little nut and washer. Put those back on there. Tighten that down with the pliers, or nut driver, or socket, whatever you got. It's easy to put it on too tight with a socket. I'd recommend a nut driver or pliers. I'm right-handed, it's easier for me to do it with the right hand. Snug it down a little more because that is going to vibrate a lot and I don't want that coming loose. I'm not going to put glue on it. Got this on there tight. Now I'm going to put this back on there. And put my screws back in. Tighten up my screws. And then go and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, this will be the first startup after putting it back together. Let's see what happens.